Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my Hartford Whalers expansion franchise on NHL 24. In the last episode, we witnessed a 41 save shutout as Matt Murray shut down the San Jose Sharks, and then we finished with a simulated win against Dallas and then an overtime loss against one of the league's best teams in the Boston Bruins. Prior to that, in the last episode, we started with back-to-back losses in sim games as we fell to the Chicago Blackhawks and our division foe, the Philadelphia Flyers. So, a correction. Last episode, I closed saying we were 3-1-1 in last episode, but we were actually 2-2-1. So, still not a bad result. We'll always take a couple wins and an overtime loss against one of the league's best teams. So, in this episode, we're set to sim 12 games as we're now in episode 12. So, already a dozen episodes on this series. And again, as I've reiterated time and time again, I appreciate everyone out there who's viewing and supporting. So now we'll jump into this first period against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who we're 1 point ahead of in the Metro Division right now. So the Blue Jackets, with a goal from Patrick Laine, go up 1-0 after the first period. And then they explode for 4 goals as Laine nets another one. Goals from defenseman Jake Bean, Ivan Provorov, and then Kent Johnson gets on the board, as well as Scott Wedgwood heads into the game about halfway through the second period. And then we do get a couple there, but it's not enough, obviously, as we fall here 5-2. And Matt Murray was playing a phenomenal hockey in the prior 3 or 4 games, probably the best hockey of his season so far. And Wedgwood was due for some playing time, so we're going to throw him out there for this next game against Minnesota, as now our top defenseman, Dmitry Orlov, suffers a concussion, so he's going to miss some time. So that's a huge loss now, as we'll reinsert Jake Larson into the lineup. So now we have Dmitry Orlov, who is set to miss a couple weeks. We have reinserted Jacob Larson into the lineup, and we're going to give Scott Wedgwood the start here at Minnesota. As some of you remember, we fell 4-2 against the Wild a couple episodes ago as we watched that full game. So now have Scott Wedgwood, who has been very good in his past 4 appearances or so, and a couple relief appearances for Murray and a couple starts as well, winning both of those starts. That first period ends up in a tie as the Wild net 2 power play goals, one from Hartman, one from Zuccarello, and then Comfort and Leo Carlsson ties it up late for the Hartford Whalers with a goal from the rookie. And then we net 2 more in the second period as Nolan Patrick scores, and then JT Comfort with his second of the game, this time shorthanded. So we'll send this third period and see if we can hold the lead. As we do, Matt Boldy adds another power play goal as Matt Murray was in the game. So I'm thinking Murray was in this whole game. Did we not? I guess we didn't put Wedgwood in. Jeez Louise. I've been awful with that, forgetting to rotate the goalies. Unless Wedgwood just got hurt early on, but I don't think that's the case. So here we go. 4-3 win against the Minnesota Wild. And now we have another game here against Boston, and we will throw Wedgwood in for this one. Murray's played the last 4 or 5 games now, back-to-back. He just had that overtime loss against Boston, so we will throw Scott Wedgwood out there. See, we did have Wedgwood in. Why did they start Murray last game? Maybe Murray got hurt early on. I don't know, dated. I don't know. That was weird. So let's sim another one as we start this episode 1-1 with 10 games remaining to sim. So we do go up 1-0 with a goal from Andrew Mangiapane in that first period. We add another one. Nolan Patrick scores in back-to-back games as the Hartford Whalers lead 2-0 going into the third. We'll let this one play out as we get a power play early on. Nothing doing. And we are out shooting Boston 28-23, now 28-25 halfway through this third period. And now still 2-0 as less than 5 minutes left to play. And then Dylan Heinen gets one for the Bruins against Scott Wedgwood. So let's see if we can hold here. Less than a minute left. And we do. Another 2-1 score between Hartford and Boston. But this time the Whalers get the job done as Scott Wedgwood, a tremendous performance as he wins his 3rd straight start. And Nolan Patrick there, the 3rd star with 1 goal and 5 hits. Let's take a look at some stats in this one. And remember, we're without Dmitry Orlov, our best defenseman, as we've won these last 2 games. Nothing. Let's see, hits. Patrick and Comfort each with 5 hits. About face-offs in this one. Lawton, 11 out of 23, was our leading man. Goalies, Scott Wedgwood, 32 saves on 33 shots, and his numbers are climbing up a little bit. I think his numbers might be better than Matt Murray's right now. So we're getting very good play out of our backup goalie thus far, as we're now at 44 games on the season, and we're going to throw Matt Murray back out there against the Anaheim Ducks, who have been playing. They've been exceeding expectations so far this season. Let's check out where they rank in the Pacific. They were leading the Pacific early on in the season. Now they're second in the Pacific behind the Vegas Golden Knights by 6 points, as the Oilers trail just by 1. So the Ducks off to a great start, as are the Whalers, both exceeding expectations here over 40 games into the season. After that first period, McTavish gets on the board for the Ducks. In the second period, Jake Evans evens it up for the Whalers. And again, we'll let this third period play out. Low-scoring games here as of late for the Whalers, as Comtois scores for the Ducks. And then Mangiapane on the power play a minute and a half later evens it up for the Whalers. This might be one. I was going to say this might be one we jump into if it hits overtime, but Patrick Kane gets the Whalers ahead late with another goal. And then Comfer scores about 3 minutes later. So the Whalers score 3 straight in the last 12 and a half minutes, and they beat the Anaheim Ducks 4-2. Another impressive win here from our Hartford Whalers. Matt Murray, the first star with 30 saves, as our goaltending has been very, very well these past couple weeks. So does that take us to 3-1 now throughout the episode? Just a quick recap here. So 3-1 this week, starting with a 5-2 loss to Columbus, but then rebounding with a 1-goal win, a 1-goal win, and then a 2-goal win. So we're winning these close battles here, as we're playing some good, consistent hockey now, ranked 4th in the Metro, only 2 points away from Pittsburgh and 4 points away from the Rangers. Now we'll visit the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are playing some of the best hockey in the league right now, as they're at the top of the Atlantic Division, although they have only won 4 of their last 10 games, so they're kind of hitting a skid right now. Let's see if we could take advantage, as we did fall to them 4-1 earlier in the season, but we will keep Murray out there for this matchup against his former team where he spent some time. And then we'll go up 2-0 with a power play goal from Arvidsson and a goal from Patrick Kane after the first period. So after the second period, nothing doing. I'll let this play out here in the third. In these sim episodes, I'm more likely to let it play out just to eat up some more time here, as Matthews scores early and then Robertson scores to tie it up. And then they get another one from Matthews about a minute and a half later. So Matthews with 2 goals here in the third period, about 5 minutes apart, as they get another one as Sam Lafferty scores for Maple Leafs. So a promising 2-0 lead entering the third period. And now we gave up 3 goals quick as they put in Wedgwood. So we'll fall again to the Toronto Maple Leafs, squandering a 2-0 lead as we surrender 4 straight third period goals, as Austin Matthews, you figure he's going to score most games. So that's a disappointing loss, as Murray was pulled there in the third period. And as we were already planning to start Wedgwood in this one against Winnipeg, so we will update that real quick. And it might be time to move the lines around a little bit. We were having some success, but I've been just constantly reshuffling the lines here, and we've been getting varied results, so I think that's just an approach I'll keep. Now entering the game as we host the Winnipeg Jets. Tied 1-1 after the first period with goals from Tyson Barrie and Blake Wheeler. And then 2 more goals from each side in the second, as Ehlers scores, followed by Nolan Patrick and Patrick Kane. Nolan Patrick, Patrick Kane, that's a nice compound there. As the Hartford Whalers went up 3-2, but then Pionk gets a power play goal. So we will let this one play out as we enter the third period in another tie game. And only 15 shots now, about halfway through this third period. So not many shots on goal for the Whalers, as Winnipeg's known for their defense. Less than 5 minutes now in the third period at a 3-3 game. And it looks like we'll get overtime. And no, we will not. Brutal. Kapari scores with 24 seconds left, stealing robbing Hartford of a point here. And that's just brutal. As we now drop back-to-back games against Canadian teams. I believe now falling to 2-3 in this episode. Orlov is eligible to return, but he's not at full strength. So we're going to sim this game against the Red Wings, and then we'll throw Orlov back out there on our defense, which much needed. We'll probably mess with the lines a little bit after this game as well. So we'll throw Murray out there for this one, and then we'll reinsert Orlov and shuffle our lines a little bit. All right, so hosting the Detroit Red Wings now. We'll sim this first period. Oh my goodness, we give up 4 goals as Murray's pulled again. Just not even halfway through this game, or through this first period, Matt Murray gives up 3 goals, 3 goals for Matt Murray, including a shorthanded to Rasmussen, and then Fabry scores on Wedgwood late in the period as Hartford only gets 4 shots in the period as opposed to 4 goals for Detroit. We add 1 there as former Red Wing Filip Zadina now reached, I think, his 12th goal this season, setting a new career high, or just adding to his previous career high that he recorded recently. So 15 shots through 2 periods for Detroit and 11 for Hartford. Not many shots in this one. As we'll send this third period, and Rasmussen gets a power play goal. So a shorthanded goal from him and a power play goal from him. And not a good performance there from Matt Murray or the team overall. And Nolan Patrick's going to be hurt now, so we're going to have to throw somebody else out there. And we'll fix the lines, and then I'll come back and sim the rest of these games in this episode. All right, good as new as Orlov is back in the lineup, and we did reshuffle the lines a little bit, which I'll give you a look at, as we're set to take on the top 2 teams in the NHL, the top Eastern Conference team, New York Islanders, and then we face the top Western Conference team, Colorado Avalanche. So we put Mangiapane on the top line. He's been super productive, and he's back up there with Leo Carlsson and Patrick Kane. Then ultra veteran line here with Arvidsson, Lawton, and Compher as we went for the chemistry, as they have a +2 chemistry there on the second line. Then the third line, Olofsson, Jake Evans, and Foligno. And we'll just keep it. But we might move Foligno down at some point. And then with Nolan Patrick out for a couple games, we threw in Nick Cousins to go with Connor McMichael and Filip Zadina. I hate having Zadina out there on that 4th line, but that's where he has the most chemistry, so we will just keep him out there for now. Keep in mind, he is on our second power play line as well, so he gets a little extra ice time from that. Maybe we will have to bump him up. I think he has our most power play goals, so maybe we will have to bump him up to our top power play unit. As we'll keep Matt Murray in for this one as we face our Metro leading New York Islanders at home. This would be a huge win if we could pull this one off. At least split one of these games here between these 2 super successful teams right now. And then we'll go down 3-1 as we do get on the board first with a Logan Stanley goal. But Wedgwood, who's out there for some reason, gives up 3 straight to end the period. We do add 1 more there in the second with a goal from Patrick Kane against Ilya Sorokin. Only 15 shots on goal here for the Islanders. And we will let this one play out. We double them in shots, but trail on the scoreboard as we couldn't capitalize there on a power play. But we do get a goal there from Cody Ceci to tie the game, and we get another power play. Bo Horvat does score following the power play, so the Islanders retake the lead at 4-3 as they have a power play now, which they do not score on. Now less than 2 minutes left, and it looks like, wow, we get a goal from Matt Grzelcyk with 19 seconds left to salvage this one, as we'll force overtime here against the New York Islanders, leading the Eastern Conference. 38 shots for the Hartford Whalers against 26 for the Islanders, and we're going to jump into this one and watch this overtime period against, I think the Islanders do have the most points, or they trail Colorado by 2. Either way, obviously I'm stressing it. They're overall-wise not one of the better teams here in the league, but in the standings, they clearly have been. So we'll have Bo Horvat out there against Scott Laughton for this opening overtime draw as it's won by the Hartford Whalers back to Patrick Kane. Horvat picks it up at center ice. He'll skate it in with steam. His shot, goal! And just like that, he scores against Matt Murray. Last episode, I mentioned how I jumped into the Boston game, but I forgot to record. And so you didn't get to see that last result. But that's essentially what happened in the last game. Boston had a quick drive up ice. Pavel Zacha, a rebound. He answered his own rebound and scored for the Bruins. And now here, the Islanders get a quick goal there from Bo Horvat, who the quick snapshot beats Matt Murray, blocker side, who didn't really react to that one. And wasn't Wedgwood in earlier? Or I don't know what's going on with the goalies in these last few games. You see the Islanders pumping it up there after a win. But still, you can't be mad when you force one of the league's best teams into overtime, as the New York Islanders defeat the Hartford Whalers here 5-4. So now we fall to 3-4-1 in this episode. Not too good, not too bad, as we'll look to rebound here against Colorado, sporting a 27-11-9 record. 9 post-regulation losses so far for the Avalanche. And I believe we should still have Matt Murray out there, as Hartford goes up 1-0 after the first period with a goal from Victor Olofsson on the power play. Then Colorado jumps ahead with goals from Malgin and Mikko Rantanen on the power play. So we'll sim this third period. Only 14 shots here for Hartford. And then Colorado just takes the game away. Nishkanen scores on the power play, and then 2 more there late for Colorado, as Rantanen nets an empty netter, his second of the game. And Scott Lawton gets on the board for Hartford as well. So we'll drop 2 straight games here against 2 of the league's best. And so far it has not been good in this episode. I think that's now 3-5-1 we fall to, after we did look pretty good in that opening week. And now we haven't won in almost 2 weeks. Wow. So now we'll finish with road games against St. Louis, Washington, and another home game against Minnesota. So we are slipping a little bit in the standings with some rough games here as of late, and we really, really need to rebound here against St. Louis. All right, we'll send this first period, and we fall down 2-1. Buchnevich and Torrey Krug with goals for the St. Louis Blues, and Patrick Kane gets one here for Hartford. We do knot it up, though, with another goal from Patrick Kane, this time on the power play, as we will let this third period play out in a tied 2-2 game. Let's see if Patrick Kane can net his second hat-trick of the season, as Leo Carlsson with the power play goal, and then Buchnevich ties it up just moments later, as now it's 3-3. Hartford did have a short lead there, and then another goal from the Blues as they retain the lead. And Hartford ties it up with a goal from Philip Zadina. Back and forth here in this third period. And let's let this overtime play out, as we will get a point at least out of this one. And St. Louis with an overtime goal from Nick Leddy, as the Hartford Whalers fall to 1-5 now in overtime games. So maybe our 3-on-3 lines aren't really getting it done, and we should look to kind of move those around as well. So another loss. I think we've dropped 5 in a row now, 2 of which I think came in overtime. So at least we do get 2 points from those, but very putrid episode overall. Let's just rack it up real quick. We had that nice 3-game win streak, but we haven't won since, as 3-4-1, 3-5-1, 3-5-2 now in this episode. And if we can close with back-to-back wins against the Capitals and Wild, that would be tremendous for us to kind of keep stake here in the Metro. Although, I mean, still only 3 points away from the Hurricanes, who are 4th in the division. Let's see. I think we'll throw Wedgwood out for this one against the Capitals, who have really fallen down, and now I think they're at the bottom of the Metro, as the Flyers have really, really picked it up, and now they're towards the top of the division after being at the doormat for most of the season. A big game here against Washington, a winnable game that we really need to take advantage of against a poor team, as we'll fall 2-1 in the first period with a goal from Josh Brown. TJ Oshie gets the go-ahead goal there for the Capitals. Oh, my goodness. And then we give up 3 more there in the second. Oshie nets another one. Hagelin and Kuznetsov tally another one for the Capitals, as now they're up 5-1. And then we will try and scrap back a little bit, but we'll still fall here 6-4, as Arvidsson nets 2 late goals and Grizzly gets 1 as well. So another loss here for the Hartford Whalers, as we're kind of on a major losing streak right now. It's certainly not looking good after all the momentum we were able to accumulate in these past couple episodes. So we're going to finish it off here against the Minnesota Wild at home. And we're going to throw Matt Murray out there to hopefully can get us some redemption and get us back in the win column. It's been rough going here. All right, let's get some redemption here on home ice against the Minnesota Wild. We're desperate for a win right now. No scoring there in that first period as we more than double them in shots, 13-6. Still nothing there in that second period as we will let this third period play out in a scoreless game as Hartford can't capitalize on a power play opportunity there early on. And now more than halfway through this period. Still no scoring, less than 5 minutes left in the third. Will someone get a late goal here? As Minnesota, Gaudreau for the Wild gets a late goal. And the Wild will fall again in a 1-0 game. That is absolutely brutal. And Marcus Foligno now is hurt. A few games back, we dropped a game late too with a late. So that's at least a 2-point swing there, as we maybe could maybe even have doubled that if we were able to seal overtime wins. Although we only do have one so far in the season, so. A very rough episode, and I have a bad taste in my mouth now after this one. I had a really good feeling coming into this one though. As you see, 2-6-2 in our last 10, and we are now at the bottom of the Metro, tied with the Capitals, and we do have 3 more games played than the Capitals. So it's not looking good here, folks. We were able to kind of keep our heads above water there halfway through this season, but now it's looking like we're coming back down to earth and kind of revealing our identity here as an expansion team. And I'm actually going to call an audible on this one. I was going to just do the 12 games, but here we can't leave it here on an 8-game losing streak. That's just ridiculous. So we're going to do this game against Ottawa on the road and then also versus Nashville. And hopefully I'm not pressing my luck here. I mean, I would hate for it to hit double digits on a losing streak to close this episode, but we're just going to take our chances here. And we're going to have Matt Murray in net against his former squad, the Ottawa Senators. After the first period, nothing doing. Second period, we get goals from Olofsson and Mangiapane against Anton Forsberg, who's been one of the best goalies so far in this season. And then after the third period, we complete the victory here as we snap the losing streak with another goal there from Andrew Mangiapane. He'll be the first star in this one with 2 goals, 4 hits, and then Matt Murray, 33 saves. Another big performance from our goaltender who's bounced back a little bit. Super inconsistent so far on this season. As there we see Mackenzie Entwistle is hurt from our AHL team. And now we'll finish this episode with a home game against Nashville. And we do get our first waiver notification here with Henry Jokiharju, I think for Buffalo. Only 2 games played. Right-handed shot, though. A 2-way defender. I wish we had more on his overall rating. He probably could compete with Josh Brown on our third unit there as our right-handed defenseman. Former first overall pick of the Blackhawks. Really, I think we'll probably pass. It's tempting, I mean, but kind of unnecessary. There's really no reason for that. So we'll pass on Jokiharju as we'll jump into this last game against the Predators. And we will keep Matt Murray out for this one. So next episode, we'll jump right into a game as we'll view a full game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And a rough period there. We give up 3, headlined by Matt Duchene there on Matt Murray. No goals there in the second period. And then we do net 1 on Scott Lawton as he prevents the shutout, but we will fall 3-1 against the Nashville Predators as we lose 9 of our last 10 to close this episode. But at least we do get that win against Ottawa. So in similar fashion to our last sim episode, we're going to take a look around the league at some stats and standings. First, we'll start. We have some time in this episode, so I think we'll look at our players as well, as Patrick Kane still leads the way with 52 points, 25 goals, 27 assists. Leads in goals, but minus 12. And most players on this team are in the minus right now. Mangiapane leads in assists with 31, second with 45 points. Just sort goals, and what was that? 6 different players with at least 10 goals, only 1 in the 20s. Power play points led by Kane and I think Zadina and Tyson Barrie, both with 5 power play goals. So all but 1 goal for Tyson Barrie this year on the power play. Leading time on ice. Barrie and Orlov leading time on ice. Kane, our top forward in time on ice. Scott Lawton, tremendous face-off man so far this season. And Nick Cousins hasn't been out there too much, although he's had success as well. Lawton leads in hits for us. He's among the league leaders. Block shots. Tyson Barrie and Cody Ceci both over 70 block shots. 12 fights for Marcus Foligno. And as a team, we have 13 fights, 12 of them from Marcus Foligno. You love to see that. And we'll take a look at our goalies as their numbers have kind of fallen big time throughout this episode. But at least Murray's still over 900 save percentage, and he does have those 3 shutouts to his credit. So actually we'll look at some league leaders here as well. I think probably Kucherov is still paving the way. You would have to put money on after his tremendous start. And he is still at number 1 in the league in points with 70, with teammate Braden Point right behind him with 67. And it looks like Kucherov is actually hurt now as he's missed the past couple of games. So a good opportunity for his teammate to catch him, along with guys like Andrei Svechnikov, Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Johnny Gaudreau, Matt Barzal, among others who are all up there. Matt Barzal and teammate, I'm sorry, that's not his teammate. That's Sebastian Aho from Colorado. I was thinking of the defenseman for Islanders, but he would not be up here in points. And Adam Fox with 61 points. I think that's leading defenseman, which it is. Svechnikov with 35 goals. And Kucherov with 34, the only 2 players with over 20 goals. As Kucherov's hurt, McDavid is hurt. So 2 of the top, maybe the top 2 players in the league currently out. As we see Adam Fox and Miller, Keandre Miller, most likely a defensive pairing there for the Rangers with the top plus-minus in the league, followed by Provorov, Shen, Bogosian, fellow defenseman, and as a Zibanejad with a plus 26 leading all forwards. 8 game-winning goals this season for Johnny Gaudreau and 7 here for Nathan Bastian for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's having a good season there as a free agent acquisition. He must be playing solid on their 3rd or 4th line as Toronto's having a very good season. And it looks like Bastian has found a role there. Tarasenko, another free agent acquisition for the Blackhawks up there. Power play goals goes to Kucherov with 11 power play points. Tied teammates Zuccarello and Kaprizov, who they had a good time against us on the power play a few episodes back. Leads the league in time on ice. Drew Doughty with Adam Fox not too far behind him. Among Derek Ryan, 63.9 in the faceoff circle. Ryan O'Reilly, and then Kopitar, really primary centerman on the top lines. Kopitar is probably the best faceoff man at just under 60% there. Leading the league in hits, Timo Meier for the Devils, who scored against us earlier in the season. We see Scott Lawton as well up there in the top 5. With Joel Eriksson-Ek, who had a big game against us as well a couple episodes ago. Leading in block shots. Oh, wow, Jamie Drysdale up there for the Ducks as an offensive defenseman. You don't see that too much. And paving the way in hits, Nick Delorier, of course, with Marcus Foligno, Kyle Clifford behind him. And then Tanner Ginot and Jonah Gadjevich, who's been out there for the injured Oscar Lindbaum. Go over to goalies. Tristan Jarry tied for the league in wins with 26 there, with Ilya Sorokin, 2 goalies occupying the Metropolitan Division. Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, Sergei Bobrovsky, Elvis Merzlikins, who we're set to face in this next game. Samsonov, Connor Hellbook paving the way there in wins without shutouts. 5 shutouts for Ilya Sorokin, who he looks to be a front runner for the Vezina right now. Tremendous numbers there. Lukin in there for Buffalo. Very good season for him. Maybe a budding star there for the Sabres. Not good last season, but he's really putting it together this year. At less than $1 million at 8.840. Stellar goaltending there for Buffalo at a criminal price. And then you see Anton Forsberg, who we defeated a couple games ago. Leading in save percentage, Ilya Sorokin at .921. Samsonov for Toronto. Goals against, Jeremy Swayman, who's been in mainly a backup role there in Boston. And he's someone kind of on our trade radar, but it's kind of, we'll see what happens this offseason. If Boston re-signs Linus Ullmark, then obviously Swayman will probably want to go elsewhere, and he'll be a top trade candidate for us. We have any goalie goals here on this season? No. What about any goalie penalty minutes? Nope. Goalie assists? 4 assists there by Jonas Korpisalo. He probably has more assists than a couple of our players there. That's pretty insane production from a goalie. What about rookie skaters? I'm sure Bedard's... Yep. Bedard leads Leo Carlsson in every category. Leo Carlsson's slight advantage there in shot percentage. More power play goals. More hits. So yeah, that's the first and 4th overall pick in this last draft. And here's the 2nd overall pick from the Ducks, Alexander Komatov. As you might remember from the 2nd episode here in this series, only 18 points through 53 games there for the 2nd overall pick. A 6'3", 204-pound power forward from Ukraine. Is that Ukraine flag? I should probably know that. Luke Hughes. What about goal? Any rookie goalies this season? Sugard there for Ottawa. Very good as a backup. Joseph Wall, Joel Hofer, and Devin Levy. Then we'll look at our draft class real quick. I did have someone comment, and I love comments. I really appreciate comments. I love any type of feedback. I love to see that you're kind of involved in this franchise, this series, as well as me. But I had someone ask if I was considering tanking, and up until that point, I wasn't, just because we were kind of playing very good hockey. But even now, after this just abysmal performance in this episode, I'm still, I wouldn't say we're going to tank, just because, look at this draft class. You know, Berkeley Catton currently at the front. Initially, it was Yulf Hadin who entered the season as a #1 prospect. He's fallen. And on our board, our scouts have this defenseman, Sammy Maki, as our top prospect. So just no consensus #1 guy. You know, if there was a Connor Bedard or a Connor McDavid in this draft class, then yeah, maybe we'll consider tanking. But there's really no one here that presents that, strategy. So we're going to ride it out here in these last few games before the trade deadline and see if we can make up some ground. So it looks like the game is projecting us to have about the 6th pick or so. So we're kind of, we have a little bit more clarity after this episode falling down the ranks a little bit. We kind of see where we stand a little bit better. It was very congested there before, but at least now we see we're kind of in that 6 to 10 range. So it looks like we're going to be able to snatch up a very good defenseman at this point. That's kind of our top priority, I think. So Sam Dickinson would definitely be ideal there from the London Knights. Elite potential, NHL ETA, 2 years. And when he gets up to the club, he would be a difference maker. Then we see Aaron Kivaharju, and he has elite potential with a 1-year NHL ETA comparisons to Mark-Edouard Vlasic. Then we have forwards here, Emil Henning and Clark Caswell. But another defenseman here, Adam Urasek, right-handed shot. And you know I love those, right? A nice right-handed defenseman there. But he definitely needs to bulk up a little bit, only at 152 pounds. And Maxime Massé would be a nice option as well if we do elect to go forward. He looks like he's going to be a nice sniper. Another defenseman here at the top, though, Zane Perek. 8th on our board compared to 11th overall rating on the board. So a lot of defensive options here. And then there's a couple guys I like, Beckett, Seneke, and Liam Greentree, both Canadian prospects who offer good two-way potential. So that was just a quick look at the draft class. And to close this episode, I'll kind of talk about the trade deadline, which we're going to have a full trade deadline episode. Probably not next episode, but the episode after. And then at that point, we'll jump in to the trade deadline. But we were on the fence whether we were going to be buyers or sellers. And unless we have like some gargantuan comeback in this next week and a half, heading into the trade deadline, we're most likely going to be sellers, unfortunately. And when I say sellers, I think we're going to go full in and just, as we see Jeremy Swayman there on the trade block, I think we'll go all in and try and get as much as we can for these players on one-year deals that we're most likely not going to retain. So that's something to look forward to. As you see the Flames here with a few big names on the trade block, they're just unloading everybody there, it seems. Peter Mrazek on the block there for Chicago, although they're right in the midst of a playoff run. Not sure why you'd want to get rid of your starting goaltender. Billy Husso having a very good season for Detroit. I'm not exactly sure how they're doing in the standings, but he's doing very good. I would love to have him on this squad. Florida with Sergei Bobrovsky. Still 3 years left on a $10 million deal. That's pretty... I don't know any team who would want to take that up right now. Trevor Moore on a 5-year deal there for LA. They have him on the block. And Marc-Andre Fleury is actually someone I considered, but I don't know if it doesn't really make sense at this point. But he is playing backup there in Minnesota, and I don't know if he would really be a huge upgrade over Matt Murray at this stage in his career. But he is definitely someone I thought about, and maybe who knows what we do in this next episode that'll really solidify if we're gonna just sell house here and maybe try to add a few pieces. So Marc-Andre Fleury would be very interesting to see. Then you see here Semyon Varlamov on the block there for the Islanders, backup goaltender on the best team in the East right now. So I feel like they'd want to keep him around. A few defensemen there on the block for Philly. Then Caleb Ritchie here, 15th overall pick in this past draft. Looks like Pittsburgh's trying to bring in some players who can contribute now rather than down the road as they hit a playoff run. San Jose, Barbanoff would be a great addition. Mayfield, who they just signed to a 6-year deal, and maybe they're regretting that already. And then I kept saying LeBanc in the last episode. I put a little French dialect on it. No, it's just Kevin LeBanc. So correction on that one. I'll definitely try to correct myself when I make pronunciation errors. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks, as I just run through these last couple teams. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry we couldn't have better results here, but at least we kind of have a better view of where we stand amongst the league as we're now 50 games into the season, full steam ahead towards the trade deadline. So as always, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.